Hi, um, sorry, I thought I was gonna get introduced. Hi, I'm Galasrinie. Hope y'all having a good day. I'm gonna be showing off the Bayonetta speedrun today. Last year I ran Dark Souls 2 for quite a while, so I've been around the Souls community for ever since then. But this year I worked on the Bayonetta speedrun, so that's what I'm gonna be showing off today. So hopefully you will enjoy this run. Um, Timer starts on normal difficulty select, which will be in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this is Bayonetta. Bayonetta is a hack and slash action pack game by Platinum Games. The first part of the game is just an auto-scroller, so there isn't too much required of me to do here, but it'll give me an opportunity to explain a few things about the speedrun and about the game overall. At the start of the run, we get introduced to two of the main characters. On the left is Jean, and on the right is Bayonetta, who is the character that we're going to be playing as for this speedrun.
Long since erased from the records of time.
So yeah, like I said, this is just a auto-scroller. You'll notice right now that there is a narrator who has a bit of dialogue to read about the game and the story. What can happen is sometimes the final line of his dialogue can get cut off, so we just have to wait and see if we get that extra bit of time saved. So in Bayonetta, the main way that we perform damage is through punches and kicks and combos. On each of Bayonetta's hands and feet, she has guns strapped to them, so you're going to be seeing her do a lot of shooting and a lot of punching and kicking and things like that. In this auto-scroller, we see some of the enemy types in the game. Unlike Devil May Cry, where you verse demons and devils, in Bayonetta you verse angels, which is the opposite. And for the speedrun category that I'm doing today, it is new game, any percent normal, no infinite flick glitch, which is rather a mouthful. But essentially what it means is new game means that this is not a new game plus run, so we start the game on a fresh file right from the start of the game. Any percent means we're going to be trying to finish the game as fast as possible. Normal is the difficulty, and no infinite flick glitch means we're not going to be using one specific glitch which trivializes combat quite a bit. So you're going to be seeing a lot more combat techniques throughout the course of this run, and this run is a lot of fun to do. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Yeah, if there's any donations that need to be catched up on, this is a good opportunity to read a few if there's any that need to be read. This is just a little auto-scroller part.
Nothing coming in right now, but we do have several bid wars coming up, such as London 2012, the official video game. You can choose what country SAS has to play as.
Cool. Very good.
Rounding up the battle-weary witches with little resistance and subjugating those who wish to continue the
That larger angel type in the back there, his name is Fortitudo, and we're going to be seeing him quite a few times in the early game. So the final line of the dialogue is coming up right now.
but one.
See, all but one. He said the whole sentence, but sometimes what can happen is sometimes he stops talking after the first word. So we just have to wait and see if we get that extra bit of time save or we don't. So yeah. First chapter is Prologue, the Vestibule. Bayonetta ends up in a cemetery with some angels. And what we're going to be performing here is what we call the ragdoll combo, where we pick up an angel and try and ragdoll them into each other so we can do damage to multiple enemies at once. One thing you'll notice when defeating the enemies in this game is that there are these golden rings that pop out of their body. Those are called halos, and that is the main currency in the game, which you use at the store, which I'll get to show off a bit later. You kill angels and halos pop out of their bodies. So coincidence. This is a smaller flying angel type, which are called enchants. Oh, not enchants, they're called decorations. So we just shoot them down using the guns on Bayonetta's hands. And now in this wave, it is a mix of both. So we try and ragdoll the larger angels. He keeps hitting, which isn't very nice. We ragdoll the larger angels and then try and push them into the smaller ones that are flying. Yeah, try and clear out multiple angels if possible. There we go. Now, underneath Bayonetta's green health bar to the left, you'll notice that there are these rainbow kind of orbs. That is called the magic gauge, and when Bayonetta has a full magic gauge, she can perform this against an enemy, which is called a torture attack. And we torture attack that larger angel to the side because he has quite a bit of health, and doing that specifically to him will one-shot him. So that's a good way of clearing him out straight away here in the prologue. So yeah, torture attacks is the mechanic that we're getting introduced to. In this next segment, it is a requirement to perform 3 torture attacks in order to progress. I performed the first one, having the magic gauge filled up from the previous fight. And now, holding down Bayonetta's combos, she will shoot a lot of bullets from her hands and her feet, which fills the magic gauge up very fast when it collides with the enemies. So we do that so we can fill the magic gauge up fast and perform 3 torture attacks as fast as possible. And that's the end of the prologue.
Do you have time for a donation?
Yep, this is a good time.
Great. We have an anonymous $10 donation that just says Gala Gang.
Thank you. Now, in between chapters, there is this minigame called Angel Attack, which you just saw there. But I won't be doing it there, but I'll be doing it after the next chapter, so I'll get to explain it more in detail then. Next chapter is Chapter 1, The Angels Metropolis. First thing we do is we jump over this train, and we perform this movement which is called Jump Punch Cancelling, which is performed by pressing the jump and the punch button together to perform this slightly faster movement. Because with the dodges in the game, on the 5th dodge, it is an exhaust dodge, which Bayonetta flops over and is exhausted. It's very slow. So we use that punch jump cancelling movement to not have to deal with that in open spaces. Ooh. There's an enemy who spawns behind us here after we get the key, but you don't have to deal with them. You can just go straight to the door. And after interacting with this broken statue, there is a fight that emerges. And what we're going to be doing is the same ragdoll combo to try and push multiple enemies into each other. Thanks. After this fight, when the statue is reformed, Bayonetta will interact with it, lift it up, and activate it. And when activating it, it casts a lightning bolt, and dodging that lightning bolt, Bayonetta gets Witch Time. Witch Time is one of the most important mechanics of the game, and essentially what it does is slows down time. Bayonetta can get Witch Time whenever she dodges something in her surroundings that could do damage to her, such as an enemy or debris. And when time is slowed down and Witch Time is activated in combat, Bayonetta can take advantage of her enemies a lot more when time is slowed down. So we're just performing the same jump punch cancelling movement, but that is the final time that you're going to see it because we're going to go into the store for a certain technique. And that technique is air dodge, which will now allow Bayonetta to dodge through the air, which will be a better, which will be the better movement that we now have. As the run progresses along, we get progressively better movement, and this is now the one that's the best for us. In this dome there is a vase, and in that vase is arcade bullets. In between chapters there is that Angel Attack minigame, and retrieving those bullets gives us extra shots for that minigame. And we're gonna need that for the run, which I'll get to show off after this chapter. in the game, one thing that Bayonetta can do is she can take an angel's weapon away from them. Right now we picked up the halberd that one of the angels had dropped, and Bayonetta can use it as a stripper pole. Don't get in the range of those guys, that's okay. And we like to use that to try and do damage to the enemies that come down around us. Another way that Bayonetta can get an angel's weapon away from them is by performing a torture attack. And I torture attacked that enemy specifically with the ball and chain weapon, because I'm going to need that weapon for an enemy who's going to be spawning in just a minute once I clear out these waves. Which is a beloved, which is a larger angel type. What these angels have on their back is a red spot, which is their weak point. Using the ball and chain weapon, we can do a lot of damage to their back and take them down very fast at their weak spot. For some of the larger angel types in the game, Bayonetta performs a climax move. This is Gamora, whom she summons with her hair as the medium, her infernal demons. For those who don't know, Bayonetta is a witch, so you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff like that throughout the game. So after that fight, we pick up the Beloved's axe that he had dropped, and we also pick up the LP record. These records, when you exchange them at the store, the shopkeeper will give you certain items, certain weapons for them. So we pick up that one for a weapon that we're going to be retrieving a bit later. Bayonetta has a flashback, and there is this fight that emerges. And we perform now this technique which is called Bullet Climax. Bullet Climax is a technique you get by default at the start of the game, which allows Bayonetta to shoot a lot of bullets from either her hands or her feet. So that's what we're going to be using up against this beloved too. And also perform it with the feet. And now for this fight, I'm going to try and stay in the air, because the beloved here, he grabs onto the bridge and he tries to ram the bridge to the sidewall. If Bayonetta were to stand on the bridge, she gets a stagger animation. So we stay in the air so that we can continuously do damage to him. We're going to be using the axe now that we had got from one of the previous fights. You see the axe does a lot of damage to the beloved coming here, and we can climax. Usually what happens is he crawls up that stairway and you would verse him on this platform, as you can see in this animation. Ben is on the platform with the beloved, but because the axe does a lot of damage, we can kill him before he even gets there. That's the end of chapter 1.
What about another donation?
Yeah, you can say another one.
Okay. Well, also, sorry, Justinitis, who did it, but the name didn't show up earlier. But also, we have Long Arm Centipede Giraffe, who also says Gala Gang with $10.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
So yeah, I'm playing this minigame Angel Attack here because with the points that you get in this minigame, you can exchange them for certain items. I collected bullets from the chapter that I just completed so that I could have more shots in this minigame, so that I can get enough points for a certain item that you can get in this minigame that you can't get at the store, which is called a magic flute. And we try and get 3 magic flutes with 90 points in total. The magic flute is a consumable item that does a burst of damage to the surrounding area, like an AoE burst, area of effect. And even though this is the no infinite flute glitch speedrun, we can still use it, but we just have to consume it normally. Now this is chapter 2, Vigrid City of Deja Vu. And the first fight is Jean, the first Jean fight, which isn't a very nice fight in that Jean can be very aggressive or very passive and dodge everything you try and throw at her. But you try and make do with double punch, double kick combo. You'll notice now in the game, when performing combos, Bayonetta will throw these large feet or large hands that get summoned at the ends. They are called Wicked Weaves, and they can plant a lot of damage on Jean as well as other enemies throughout the game. Just not playing very nice. She likes to run away when I don't want her to. But yeah, because this fight is a flashback, Bayonetta remembers that she can perform this one technique, which is called Witch Walk, which now allows Bayonetta to walk on the walls of some buildings throughout the game. So you'll be seeing that in some chapters. Bayonetta will crawl along some of the walls. To the side here, there is another one of the witch statues. We activate it so that we can get that lightning bolt for witch time, because for some of the doors in the game, it is a requirement to have witch time activated in order to progress through them. So for the new game run, we have to interact with that statue. First thing I do here is I pick up one of the angels and try and ragdoll him into the others to try and get some damage output straight away. I'll just have to try and clear out these angels as fast as possible. This angel in the red here, when I defeat him, he will drop his angel bow, which I'm going to be using for this fight, and I'm also going to be performing a torture attack on the second angel in red because I want his bow as well. The angel weapons do a lot of damage in the first Bayonetta game, so we can use that to clear out that wave entirely. When the beloved comes in, I hit him with the shot, and then I go into the menu and I use a magic flute. That magic flute clears out the wave of angels that spawns down, and then we just have one angel left over that we get rid of. Oh, there was 2 angels. That's okay. Oh, I must have used that flute too early. There was a few angels around that shouldn't have been there. But that's okay. But yeah, we keep one of the angel bows because we're going to be needing it for this next fight. For all the Dark Souls fans, you might remember, or you'll know of the enemy called the Bone Wheel that has a very bad reputation of being very pesky. In Bayonetta, we have something very similar called an enchant, but using the bow here, we can clear them out first. Going to see them a few times throughout the game. Here they are again, they're on the walls. We use a flute so that we can just blow them off. We give a punch and a kick to the beloved here, and he's not doing too well. So he cries out, and his friend comes to save the day. Don't worry, I got your back, sort of thing. First thing I do is I get witch time from the one in the back. I kill the one with the lesser health. I retrieve his axe, and I'm going to be using that against the one with full health. And we climax. For some of the climax moves, you will notice that I won't be performing the guillotine button mashing prompt. That is because for some of the animations, if you do the mashing, Gamora will do a munching animation, which is a bit slower by comparison to if you just let it play out and don't touch. So for some of them, we won't be doing them. I also picked up another LP record after that fight that spawns in for a weapon that we're going to be getting after this chapter. I perform a torture attack to the one in the back. This one did the move that I like, where he blitzes forth and you can get witch time, and we can take him down first. This wall that you see here, usually you would do damage to it and create a pathway, but you need witch time activated from a statue that is a bit far away. But using the air dodge technique that we bought at the store, we can actually make it across there without having to do that at all, so that's a nice little skip. Here's Fortitudo, and we're just going to be shooting a lot of bullets into his face. He flies up with the building. He got the building stuck on his head. And we just have to shoot him. He throws the building up. He tries to shoot a fireball at Bayonetta, and what does she do? She says, well, I guess I'll throw the building at your fireball. So she throws the building at him. Very flashy. And that's the end of chapter 2. Before the next chapter, I'm going to be going into the store and I'm going to be retrieving the weapons from the LP records that I had collected, as well as purchase some items and some important techniques for the run. Before we go into the next chapter. So we're going to the Gates of Hell, which is what the lovely store is called. And we retrieve the Onyx Roses as well as the Shuraba Sword. We buy 2 Yellow Moon Lollipops, and we buy 2 very important techniques, the Stiletto technique as well as the Afterburner Kick technique. These 2 techniques are important for quite a few skips as well as movement tech along the run. So we start off by equipping the sword and equipping the Onyx Roses, which are a set of shotguns, and equipping the Yellow Moon Lollipop. For this fight, the enemies here are on fire, so Bayonetta cannot touch them normally as she will get a stagger animation. So my objective is to try and get Witch Time where I can. Wind up the sword. I think I miscounted. You have to try and count 8 to kill 8 of them. Then you use a magic flute and clear out the rest. I was one short. That's okay. Now with a combination of the stiletto technique with the sword, we can perform this faster movement, which is Bayonetta going forth with the sword. One thing to take note of it though is I can't use it around enemies because you need to hold the lock-on button to perform it. That's just something to keep in mind. This is called a Fairness. It is like a dog-style angel and they love to bite. Now that we have the Onyx Roses shotguns, we can perform a lot of damage to them and take them down fast. Gonna be seeing that dog-style angel a few times along the run. There is fire that emerges from the floor here. Usually you would interact with those statues to get Witch Time to go through, but instead I use a Yellow Moon Lollipop because Yellow Moon Lollipops grant invincibility, meaning I can go through there fast without having to interact with those statues. Using the air dodge technique, Bayonetta can make her way down to the bottom here without having to go across the buildings, since you usually would crawl across the buildings to get here, but you can actually go through the middle instead. Now we have a double Fairness fight. For this fight, I try and line them up in such a way so that I can perform multiple damage to both of them, if I can. Didn't work out too well. It wasn't too bad actually. Oh, I hit him away. That's okay. Try and do damage to both the dogs at the same time. If you can line them up together, you can get a very fast time for that fight. Here we have a little bit of a cutscene. Very nice. And there's just gonna be a bit of button mashing that I'll do. Try and get some extra halos for the next shot that I'll be doing. So now we're in the underground in the Vigrid Catacombs. And coming up next we have a skip. In front of me you'll notice that there is a bridge. Usually to get to the end of the chapter you have to go across that bridge, but the bridge breaks and you have to go through this portal that I'm bypassing to reverse time and fix the bridge and make it cross. There's all this stuff that happens. However, using the techniques that we have, the Afterburner Kick technique as well as the Stiletto technique, we can perform this movement through the air and make it to a platform that is in the distance without having to deal with that bridge segment, or we can save a bit of time that way. that is a nice skip. I always have to make it a nice. Now we just have to make it to the end of the chapter. So if you have a donation you would like to read, you're most welcome to.
No new donations, but coming up soon TM, we do have Rythen has a bid war where you can choose the character in Yo Noid 2. I'm not sure what that game is, but it sounds great. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you. So the next chapter is chapter 4 and it's dedicated to a boss fight. Might have remembered me calling out Fortitudo a few times. He was this very large angel with 2 dragon heads. We're now going to be versing him in the Observatory Coliseum in chapter 4, the Cardinal Virtue of Fortitude. Start of his fight, I try and do damage to his head. Enough so that he will trip over. Hopefully he'll give me a bite. Very good. So then I can hit him. And now we're going to be using the bullet climax technique. However, with the Onyx Rose's shotguns. So we can perform a lot of damage to him. Once he receives a certain amount of damage, his health gets capped and he goes into the next parts of his fight. So we try and do that as fast as possible for each time. He goes up to perch himself up there, and now he'll breathe fire on the floor. So I'll just move a little bit so that he doesn't stagger Bayonetta. Jump on these platforms, and now Bayonetta's gonna grab him. And she's gonna suplex him on the floor. There's gonna be a bit of button mashing. And she rips off one of his dragon heads. And sends it off to hell, like you do. But now there is another dragon head that we have to rip off. I'm gonna try and do something a little bit special. If I stand in a certain spot, when he lowers his head to breathe fire, I can do damage to his head. And then you can trip him over. Oh, I'm not on the good side. And then we use the bullet climax technique to try and do enough damage to his health. So that he will fly away to go to the next part of his boss fight. Because what can happen there if you don't dodge his head when he breathes fire, he puts lava all over the floor and it makes the fight very messy and very slow. So it's a good way to make him go to the next part of his fight by getting witch time there when he lowers his head. Now, once again, it's just gonna be a bit of mashing. So now she's ripped off both of his heads. He's not doing too well. He's very angry. Not in a good mood. So now he's going to verse us in a little bit of a different setting for his final phase. And we're going to be using the sword. The sword is used a lot against bosses in the Bayonetta speedrun. You're going to be seeing it used a lot, especially in close to the end game. So yeah, we use that a lot for boss fights. Bayonetta will summon now another one of her infernal demons, but this one's name is Malphus, and Malphus is a big bird. Malphus is gonna come and peck the daylights out of Fortitudo real quick. That's the end of chapter 4. Cool. In the next chapter, chapter 5, we get introduced to quite a few new enemy types. One of them in particular is very fast and can do heaps of damage to you. And they often don't play very fair, so I'll get to show them to you. So this is chapter 5, The Lost Holy Grounds. The floor at the start here is breaking apart, but using the stiletto technique with the sword in the air, you don't have to deal with the floor breaking up. We're gonna see the lovely new angel type that I mentioned. It is Grace and Glory, which come in red and blue. At the beginning, I get Witch Time and then use the sword to try and get multiple damage on both of them. They can fling you up and do that, which is very nice. Try and trip them over and then take them out like so. And I purposely kill the red one first because the one that you kill first will drop their weapon. The blue one has an electricity element, whereas the red one has a fire element. And for the speedrun, we want the ones with the fire element so we can perform this move, which I'll get to show off here. It is a spinning with the claw, which does a lot of damage. We use it to clear out the first Dog Angel. Now we just have the other one to deal with. Like so. Shooting a lot of the bullets at them. There are all these angels that spawn there, but it is not a requirement for me to verse them, so we can just jump over them and bypass them. However, for the fights that create an angel gate or invisible wall that needs to be removed in order to progress are the fights that I will be partaking in. Going through this perspective, there are these little angels that are in the air, but we just try and avoid hitting into them because they'll slow us down. We make it to the other side, where there is another Grace and Glory fight. And I use a triple punch, triple kick combo because the sweeping of the legs will trip them over. My health is very concerning. Yeah, that's okay. They did a lot of damage to me early on. That's okay. We'll do this again. He's very far away from me. In my opinion, these enemies are probably the roughest in the game. At least for me, because they're very fast. But that's okay. Now another angel type that we get introduced to are called Harmonies. They are like this stingray style angel type. Coming to the side platform here, they will collect together. And you can take them out this way. If you're lucky, they'll all huddle up together and you can take them out with one swipe of the sword, but I wasn't that fortunate. That's okay. Now for this chapter, I'm collecting the LP record pieces because for some chapters in Bayonetta, the LP is broken up. So you have to collect them to get the full LP to get the weapon. And for this chapter, they are split up, so I have to collect them. For this fight, I shoot the first Ardor in the head, and then using the claw from the previous fight, you can take them both out together in between them. That enemy type is called Ardors, and we'll be seeing them a few times along the run. Let's just go up this tower, get to the end. And that door that you see there, I need Witch Time activated in order to go through. So we have to go up here to get access to these witch statues. And to get access to them, you need to do this fight. And I'll be collecting the enemy weapon as well. I'm gonna be using that a bit later. So we activate the statue, get the lightning bolt, and we go through the door. In this chest there is the final LP record piece, so now I have the full record for a weapon that I'm going to be retrieving very soon. This pathway is going to be breaking apart. We try and make it up as fast as possible if I can. Trip over the Inspired, which is like a snake style angel type. We use the claw, and you can take out the first bar of their health. Instead of performing the climax prompt with the Y and the B button, it is faster to just take out the portion of health that they have when they re-emerge. Because when you perform the climax, it does a really long animation for here, so we can do that instead, and it's a little bit faster. Now we're going to be going into the store and retrieving the weapon from this chapter that I had collected, which is the Durga, which is probably the most important weapon on the speedrun. The Durga is a set of claw-like weapons with the elements of fire and lightning. For the speedrun, we wear them on the feet, and I'll get to show them off in the next fight. Very important that we get that weapon. This is Temperance. We're not actually going to be versing him now, we're going to be seeing him a bit later, but now we have to find out who we are going to be versing. Which is Jean, the second Jean fight. What the Durga can do is, the Durga can plant these explosives, and you can see how much damage it does to Jean's health. They're very powerful, and we're going to be using them a lot for the rest of the run. Before we finish the chapter, we get an ability which is Beast Within or Panther Within. Panther Within is the fastest form of movement for the speedrun, so from now on you won't be seeing the movement with the sword, you'll just be seeing Panther Within, which is running in that beast form. And before the next chapter, there's a few things I'm going to be doing, so you're most welcome to read any donations if there's any that have come in, or say something about the charity.
Sure, I can say stuff about the charity. Such as... Oh no, I lost it. Okay, hold up. I can let you know that if you were to do something like, you know, $25 or something for this charity, hey, that could help train a trafficking survivor to be a peer educator for vulnerable girls. Or maybe you're feeling very generous and do $100 so that can stock a library at a school in the USA.
Awesome. So before this chapter, there's some techniques that are now available at the store, which are the ones that I'm going to be purchasing, which is Bat Within as well as Crow Within. Crow Within I'm going to be using for a few skips that are going to be coming up, and I'm also going to be purchasing some Yellow Moon Lollipops for some boss fights that are going to be upcoming. So this is the Gates of Paradise. We now see Panther Within in action. It is now the fastest form of movement that we have. And you get to see the Durga used against smaller angel types. It does a lot of damage, and for fights such as this, where there is a larger angel type in the middle and smaller angels that surround them, usually try and aim for the larger angel in the middle, as the smaller angels will clump up together around them. So that's what I try. Now in this next segment there is a skip. Usually here you would interact with those two statues that I just bypassed, and there is a fight that emerges for two inspires, which are these snake style angel types. But using the techniques that we have, the afterburner kick technique as well as crow form, you can actually latch onto that part of the wall and make it on top of here without having to perform that fight. Because after that fight, there are these platforms that emerge that let you get up here. But using those techniques is not necessary. You can do it this way. Now we have Grace and Glory again, but this time, because we have the Durga on, we can do a lot of damage. I try and... Oh. If you kill the red one first, you can actually use their claw against the second wave that pops in. But I noticed I killed the blue one first. But that's okay. The ability with the blue claw isn't very helpful for the speedrun. It doesn't do a lot of damage by comparison to the red one. So in this room, we get introduced to a new character, which is Little Cereza. You'll notice underneath Bayonetta's health bar there is another health bar, which is purple with a little image of a girl inside. That is Cereza's health bar. You have to protect her from the angels that spawn in. In the speedrun, they don't really get an opportunity to touch her. We just clear them out. She's in that little purple dome there that you see. You also get to see her for a brief moment to the left, next to Bayo. Going through here, she's now getting chased by a beloved. Oh no, so we have to still protect her from the angels. We pick up the debris on the side to throw it behind us so that we can stagger him, because Cereza is what determines how fast or how slow this segment is, and we really want to make sure that she's continuously running. However, sometimes she can decide to fall over like that. So we just have to try and throw as much stuff behind so that he doesn't catch up to her. But if she falls over, it is unfortunate. Sometimes she can fall over like so many times. So we just have to encourage her to keep moving. Going through that portal, we're now in the Paradiso realm, or paradise. There are some angels here that try to attack us, but there are these fireballs that come down from above, so we don't have to deal with them. Which is very nice. We do have to deal with the beloved though. Like the beloveds previously, they have a weak spot on their back. So what I'm going to be doing is using the afterburner kick technique to try and get behind him so that I can plant the Durga explosives to do a lot of damage to his health and take him down. One of the animations you can't skip in the game is of the beloved crying out that we took his child. Very sad, and Gamora just eats him. But wait, we find out that the person holding Little Cereza isn't Bayonetta. That's Bayonetta in the back, so we still have to protect Cereza. Oh gosh. This person has a halo, so we have to find out who it is. I used a yellow moon lollipop so that none of these lasers will interrupt Bayonetta's movement going through here. So we can make it to her as fast as possible. Find out who it is that's impersonating to be Bayo. We find out that it is a Joy. A Joy is a humanoid style angel type that has the ability to duplicate into two enemies, which is really not nice to deal with if they decide to do that. So we try and trip them over and then take them out fast using the Durga explosives. But yeah, sometimes they can hop back and still decide to duplicate, and you have to deal with 2 of them at once. It's not very nice. But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. The next chapter is a boss fight. In chapter 5, we saw Temperance for a very brief moment, and now we're going to be versing him in this chapter in the Cardinal Virtual Temperance. And there's something special that we start to do at this point in the run. So, whenever Bayonetta has a firearm on the feet of one weapon set and Durga on the other, during the kicking animation of 4 punches and then kicks, Bayonetta can shoot bullets during that kicking animation. If I switch weapon sets to a weapon on the feet that is a firearm, and that combo does a lot of damage, which are going to be used here against Temperance's arms. Once we do damage to him, we crawl up his arm and then we break open the capsules on his arms. Bayonetta now summons a different infernal beast. This one's name is Hecatonchia, which is like these hairy hands. And she's gonna rip off Temperance's arms. So we rip off one arm and we have to rip off the other. So 4 punches, and then during the kicking animation with the Durga, if I switch weapon sets to the other weapon set where we have the Onyx Rose's guns on the feet, we can shoot bullets. A lot of bullets during that animation. And we just use the sword to crack open the capsules. Temperance struggles, but instead he gets punched in the gut. And now we have to rip off his other arm. Let's see. There are also capsules on his body. And I use the sword as well as the bullet climax technique with the shotguns to crack them open. In the new game normal run, there are 3 on his body. In higher difficulties, there are a few more on his body, so that's a fun thing. His face emerges from his force field. He is very angry and wants to know what's going on. I use a Yellow Moon Lollipop so that none of his attacks will interrupt Bayonetta doing her combos to him. And then we get rid of the rest of his health using the sword. Because otherwise, he'll stagger us and not let us do our combos freely to him. So that way we can just do it to him. And he gets his face completely reconstructed. That's the end of Temperance. Cool. The next chapter is Route 666. The setting of this chapter is on the road with some cars and trucks and angels. First thing I do is try and get witch time and then kick off these larger angels to the side. See you later. We go to the corner and we use a flute to clear out the smaller angels on that side. Now we just have these 2 over here that we blow up using the Durga. The next fight is a wave of joys. First thing I do is I equip the Mega Yellow Moon Lollipop and I use it. Because you'll notice that there are, because we are on the road now, there are these cars that drive past. If you don't have a Yellow Moon Lollipop activated, they can run you over and stagger you and waste a lot of time. So we use the Lollipop for that. clear out these 2As. Now, coming up next, there is a skip, the biggest skip in the whole run. So there is a segment here where you would usually verse this angel, which is in the form of a car, whose name is Iranik. He's kind of like a boss, mini boss. And you would have to do this whole motorbike racetrack, which is about 4 to 5 minutes. But for the speedrun, we have something special that we do. As soon as Bayonetta is on her motorbike, we go into the menu and we use a magic flute. Using that magic flute allows Bayonetta to go into panther form and to go backwards over the finish line. We hit the wall to readjust, and going over the finish line again, the game will think that we did the whole motorbike racetrack when all we did was go backwards and over the finish line again. So yeah, that skip saves quite a bit of time. Rather ingenious. Because what happens is, because time is paused when you go into the menu, right at the start, Bayonetta you can freeze her model and use the flute, and with the animation with the flute, you can go into panther form, and you can actually go backwards. It lets you do that, so we do that there, and we can save time. Cool. The next 2 chapters are set in the Paradiso realm, or paradise. It'll be a very angelic setting. You'll notice that the blocks there spelled Bayo, B-A-Y-O. It's very cute. So this is Paradiso, a remembrance of time. The music is very angelic. You can hear the people singing. We go to the right here, because behind here is a chest, and in that chest is an LP record piece for a weapon that we're going to be using in late game. So I'm going to be collecting them for this chapter. Coming up is a skip. Using the afterburner kick technique up this wall, upwards and downwards, you can get enough height. Ooh, that is a little bit short. Let me do it again. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. You can get enough height to get on top of this sphere. Below this sphere, there is a fight trigger that usually would have to perform the fight to get on top of here, to get a platform to get on top. But using those techniques up that wall, you can get enough height to get on top of here without having to do that. So that's cool. Gonna be using that same technique again so that I can get on top of the platform. The gravity will take me to it. This is a whole Indiana Jones sort of segment. You get chased by this green golem. However, the invisible wall is not high enough, so we can actually jump over that wall and fall down to the lower ring and not have to do the whole spiral way segment down. You can jump over it. Because, yeah, the afterburner kick technique gives a lot of height. So for a lot of skips in the run, that is a technique that we use a lot. It is very helpful. We use it a lot for skips. In this verse, there are chests, and in the chests are pieces to a key or enemies that spawn out. I dodge to get witch time when that enemy comes out. He went away for a little bit. That's okay. We collect the red weapon. I use it to open the last chest, activate it, and then we spin to kill the dog that pops out. Even though we collect pieces to a key, we're not actually going to be using the key. Instead, we're going to be using that same afterburner kick technique, and we can make it across without having to put in the keyhole for platforms. But we still have to perform that fight because there's an invisible wall that needs to be removed in order to progress. These are called kinships. They can be a little bit annoying because they fly. Once you get on top of once you get on top of them, it's alright. They have a weak spot similar to the beloved, and you just blow them up. At this is the second piece to the record. Collect it, and then there's going to be one more a bit later that we're going to be collecting. Now in this perspective, because we have the Durga on the feet, we can perform this faster spinning movement, which makes us go a bit faster through here. Just got to be a bit careful though, because these vines make me go slow, so we're trying not to collide with them. Oh, I collided with them though. That's okay. And we just make it to the bottom. Taking a detour to the right here. Behind this wall is the final piece to the record. So now we have a full record for our weapon, which I'll be retrieving quite a bit later in the run. For this segment, there is the golem. He's probably gonna squish me. Oh, he didn't squish me. That was very good. He almost did. But if you have very good movement going through there, you can run in panther form without him catching up to you. You go very speedy. But we do have to verse him here. Thing about the golem is the golem has several different forms. He has this dragon form. He also has a bird form and a form where he turns into hands. And the objective is to do damage to this sphere. Once he splits up, we do not perform the climax because the climax animation is slow. Instead, we wait for the golem to regather and we take him out that way. Because yeah, that animation is very flashy. A lot of the climax animations are very flashy, but for some of them it's not a requirement to actually do them. You can actually kill them faster doing things like that. So we do that as an alternative. And the next chapter is Paradiso, a Sea of Stars. Have some joys in this room. From their kick, you can get Witch Time. Or you can take them out that way. Take them out fast. Now here, there's something special I'm going to try and do if I can. If I fall in a certain spot, and I go into the menu and I use a magic flute, you can get 3 of the gears like that. Which is very good that I got that. I'm very happy about that. Because the flute does damage to the surrounding area, you can get all of those gears to form. Because they are walls that you need to do damage to, usually you have to run up to each one and hit them. And there's an animation that plays for each one to get formed. But using that flute, you can get all 3 of those at once, which is very nice. There are some harmonies that spawn in, and we just blow them up. Just one shot them, that's alright. Now we're gonna see some of the bosses in like a miniature form. That was for the tutor, and we just wrecked him real fast. Now here's Temperance again. I have to wait for him to come to the platform to do damage to him. Not very nice when he stays away. Hopefully he comes forward. He's not being very nice. Because in the new game run you can't... You have to wait for him. You can't attack him from that distance. Yeah, not very nice when he does this. Come on, Temperance. Okay, he's good. When he punches with that arm, I use bullet climax to do enough damage so that he comes to the platform like this. And then using the exploit, switch weapon sets and shoot a lot of bullets from the feet into him. The platform here is spinning, so I just have to wait till I go across. And there are some of those enchant Bayonetta version of the bone wheels in here. If I went in first without waiting, they can completely wreck me. So we wait a slight moment before progressing forward because we need to wait anyway for the platform to go around, so we do that. Now this enemy type here looks a lot like Grace and Glory, however they are called Gracious and Glorious, and the main difference about them is that you cannot get Witch Time from their attacks, and since Witch Time is the main mechanic you use to take advantage of an enemy, you can make them kind of hard to deal with, but using that combo triple punch, triple kick with the sweeping of the legs, you trip them over and it's not as bad. Now that is the final enemies for the chapter that we verse in the speedrun, because there is a skip here which skips the final fight. Oh. We can get enough height to fly over the final fight and make it to the end of the chapter. There is a fight below us, but we skip over it. We jump over it entirely. Just go. Next chapter is the Carnal Virtue of Justice, which is going to be a boss fight. But before the boss, there's just a few angels we need to pick off real quick. And for this boss fight, we're only going to be using the sword. This boss's name is Justitia, which is Latin for justice. And we use these upward slashes to the sword against Justitia's face. And once he receives the damage, his head will fall down, or his tongue, depending on how you look at it. We crawl up the limb and we make it to his face. Bayonetta kicks him in the nose and gives him a nosebleed. And now she's gonna chop off his tongue. Very painful. Now as soon as I come back, I fall off to the right. The reason why I do that straight away is because if you don't, you have to wait for Justitia to break the platform at that moment anyway. So we want to go back to attacking straight away, so we just fall off, make it happen faster. Now he'll decide to throw a boulder at us. Bayonetta punches through it and then she punches him in the face. And we do the same again when we crawl up the neck, tongue, limb, something. Another nosebleed. I'm gonna chop it off. Now this will be the final time. As you can tell, the pace of the music changes a little bit. Those plants sometimes that he creates, try and make sure that I get rid of them because they can be rather cruel and trip Bayonetta over pretty bad, so we just try and get rid of them. And then we go up once again. He is very angry. He looks like he wants to explode. Comes to Bayonetta at the platform, then she just punches him in the face again. Bayonetta summons another one of her infernal demons, but this one's name is Scolopendra, and Scolopendra is a big centipede. And Scolopendra's gonna strangle the boss. Like so. That's the end of that chapter. So the next chapter is The Broken Sky. The setting of this chapter is on a plane, on a military transport Valkyrie. To the left side behind this wall there is a chest, and in that chest is a magic flute, which I'm going to be using for the final fight in this chapter. I noticed that the plane was breaking apart. Those were Jean's Wicked Weaves, so you might be able to guess who is in this chapter. We're going to be seeing her in just a little bit, and there's something special that we do for her fight that I'll get to show off. But before I do, I just have to deal with these angels who are going to be spawning in. Now usually to get to Jean's fight you would go that way, however in the speedrun we go backwards. Because this plane is a physical object, a whole physical object, you can actually get onto the side of the plane and then on top of the main part of the plane, like so. So Jean's fight is to the left. We go slowly into her boss fight arena for her health bar to emerge and for her to follow us down here to the side as we fall down. If we stand in the spot, she will give us a Wicked Weave and then we kick her off the plane. By doing so, her health will go to 0. And we go into her fight as normal, triggering her cutscene. But instead of having to verse her, she will drop dead in the fight instantly. She has a few phases to her fight, so that way we can get rid of her fast. Oh, we have little Cereza on our arms. We need to protect her a bit more from the angels. So we put her down and now we just have to deal with some waves that come in. Oh. This next fight will be some harmonies. I put Cereza down here. We go up to them. I wait to see a blue aura, which means that more are spawning in, and I use the magic flute. Using that magic flute clears them all out together, and we can finish the chapter. So for that chapter we were on a plane. In the next chapter we're gonna be on the ocean. The Cardinal Virtue of Prudence. This chapter is for a boss fight, and this boss's name is Sapientia. On each of Sapientia's legs he has these porcelain faces. Well, they look like porcelain. And the first thing that we do is crack open 2 of the faces. You give me very good moves, please, okay? And once you break open 2 of them, he will decide to dive. So we just have to avoid him biting us. Now we have the other faces on the other legs. We're just gonna be cracking open. After the fourth leg, Bayonetta summons an infernal demon whose name is Phantasmane, if I said that correctly, who is a big hairy spider. Sapientia doesn't like the spider. He's like, oh no, I gotta run away. Spiders are no good. But Bayonetta is gonna grab him and she's gonna direct him to the spider. So for this little segment, there's gonna be some quick time event prompts to counter him. I have to make sure that I hit them, otherwise I'll lose quite a bit of time. We just have to take him to the spider. The spider has a munch at Sapientia's face, and now the weak point is his face. It is now exposed. Do a bit of damage to his face and then he'll dive again. One thing that Sapientia can do, which is not very nice, is he can decide to do RNG dives where he dives and wastes a lot of time. Yeah, he died. He also hit me too, which wasn't very nice. That's okay. We'll just have to wait for him to come back up. So now we grab him once again and take him to the spider. Like so. So for this final phase, we get pulled down this water vortex with Sapientia at the bottom. Gonna be doing a punch kick punch combo with the sword. As the wicked waves with the sword have such a great range, they can hit his face even from this distance. He pushes us back. I'm going to be using that same combo. I lost my lock on with him, so I'm going to have to actually go forward. Oh, there we go. I got it again. That's good. Now we see big Splooter. He's very big now. The boss looks very tiny by comparison to him. He's on the cobweb and he's gonna turn into someone's lunch or dinner or snack. And spider have a bit of fun. Before we go into the next chapter, I'm going to be taking a stop to the store, and we're going to be retrieving a weapon as well as buying some items and an accessory, which I'll get to show off. Gonna get blinged up. So, the weapon that we're retrieving is the Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore, which is a set of rocket launchers. We're also going to be buying Celine's Light, and we're going to be buying Bloody Rose lollipops, as well as Yellow Moon lollipops, and a mega purple magic lollipop, which I'll get to explain everything once they become relevant along the course of the run. So this is Isla del Sol. First thing I do is go into the menu and I equip the rocket launchers and I equip the Bloody Rose lollipops. The first part of the Isla del Sol chapter is a shoot 'em up segment. There are these waves of angels that spawn in, and the objective is to shoot them down as fast as possible. This chapter is rather repetitive, and it's a pretty chill chill chapter because I'm just going to be shooting a lot of waves of angels. So if there are any donations that come in, or if anyone wants to donate and have their donation read on stream, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. This segment I think is about 6 minutes. So yeah, you're most welcome to or talk about anything at all.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about the $15 that Counter Kitty just donated, saying, "So lovely to see my fave runner on my fave marathon doing such a sick run. Your commentary and gameplay is amazing as always, Gala."
Thank you.
I want to remind others, if donating isn't your thing, you're more a material person, you can still support the charity and save the children with the charity merch store. We have shirts, mugs, stickers, hoodies, and a mouse pad. There's also a mouse pad there. So hey, you know, maybe you've been wanting to upgrade your mouse pad, so there you go. You can get one with Captain saying, "Don't want to yell at this game." Or Mr. Delvin's awesome artwork of Artorias and Sith. But there are some Dark Souls runners that don't like Sith, but you know, we don't worry about them. He's a good boy.
Good doggy. Are there any incentives that haven't been reached yet?
Oh, actually, yes. So we have well, we got some bid wars from what I'm looking at. The most recent one coming up will be for Rythan's run of Yo Noid 2. You can choose which character. Right now we have the Noid, just regular vanilla character, not as fun. That one's winning, and a little bit after that, you can choose between Red and Brood, which one you want to fight Ancient Dragon in New Game Plus. So it'll be a much more difficult fight. Let's see. We also have, you can choose the name of a character for Kata, name of a character in Dark Souls Scholar, file name choice for Symphony of the Night. A lot of names, you can get creative there. And also, let's not forget the old classic Save the Frames or Save the Animals. This one being a cat and Night in the Woods. And also a big thing with that game. We are 151 out of $500, but if that $500 gets met, then Carl is going to do a bass performance from the game, from the song of the game, on his bass guitar. I already said bass performance. You get it though.
Awesome. So yeah, for the mini bosses in this shoot 'em up segment, I used the Bloody Rose Lollipops. The Bloody Rose Lollipops give extra attack damage, so that you can take the mini bosses in this segment down really fast. And
Okay,
for
how
this,
much time do I have? Oh, sorry.
oh, sorry.
Is it okay? I didn't want to interrupt anything.
Oh yeah, you can keep talking if you like.
Oh, okay. So Blamer has also donated
Oh.
$15. Says, "Thanks for the great run, Gala. Keep on kicking butt."
Thank
I'll let Gala
you.
choose which should fight Ancient Dragon.
Oh, Brood.
Yeah, that's it. Just always fight Brood. That's the right choice all the time.
So yeah, the final mini boss of this shoot 'em up segment is coming up. We'll get to see them in just a moment. Who will it be? It will be Temperance. I used the Bloody Rose Lollipop for extra attack damage, and I also used a Yellow Moon Lollipop so that none of these green bullets that are going to be shot at me will interrupt me shooting at his face. When he lowers his arms and does a laser, I'll start throwing leaves at him. He still has a little bit of health left, so I'm going to try and shoot it off like that. So this next fight, which is the final time that we fight Jean, has a lot of tech, so I'm going to want to explain quite a few things here. Okay. So at the start of Jean's fight, we equip the accessory that we bought, which is Celine's Light, and we use the Mega Magic Lollipop, which will fill up the magic gauge. What Celine's Light does is whenever you are hit by an enemy with a portion of the magic gauge available, it will activate Witch Time, which will give you an opportunity to take advantage of an enemy. And now on the opposite weapon set to the Durga claws, we now have the Kilgore rocket launchers. The Kilgore are usually a very slow weapon, but do quite a bit of damage. However, with the exploit with the Durga, we can shoot a lot of the rockets within a short amount of time and do a very high damaging combo to Jean, which I'll get to show off. So the objective is to try and get Witch Time where you can. We switch weapon sets and we shoot a lot of the rockets at her. And one way that we're going to try and get Witch Time is by her hitting us. If she behaves. Because one thing about Jean, which is interesting, is whenever Bayonetta goes into her beast form, running in panther form, and Jean sees you, she'll want to run in her version of panther form as well. Where is she? There she is. Like that. And whenever she comes out of her panther form, she'll want to attack Bayonetta with her sword, and that gives us an attack which we can get Witch Time, activating Celine's Light. She had such a small amount of health left, but we got her. And yeah, that way you can get a moment to take advantage of her. And shoot a lot of damage at her. Now the next chapter is A Tower to Truth. This chapter has a bit of repetition of previous enemy types that we have seen throughout the course of the game. And I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces. So there is also a lot of free time in this chapter if you have any donations that come in. Or anything you'd like to say, this is a good chapter as well to do so.
Oh, I have a few things. I do have a few things, such as $10 from Hive Mind says, imagine not donating to see people beat Artorias with their fists. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that actually happens to be an incentive for the remastered Any% race. That'll be on later. Exact time has escaped me, but later. And also Razor360 donates $20, says, been a pleasure seeing Gala show off Bayo's sick wrestling moves, beat up them angels, especially with the hecaton chairs, because that's it. Okay, hecatona chair, I messed up, because he has a fist of fury and is really cool. Anyway, good luck on the rest of the run. Smile.
Thank you. Thanks, Razor. Okay, try and kill the red one first, and I'll be using his weapon a bit later. Cool. Temperance, there's another one of Temperance's brothers or cousins or something. He punches through the wall. We're gonna be seeing him a bit later. Right now, there are some angels in this hallway. For some reason, they were hanging out here, so we just have to blow them up. And progress forward. You can see his arms coming through the walls. He will punch through the glass, and now we go into these machines, and I'm going to be shooting a lot of bullets into his face. I specifically try and aim at his face because he gets that stagger animation if you hit directly on him. So we try and keep him staggered as much as possible without him shooting, getting an opportunity to shoot at us. Yeah, he comes to destroy that one, but thankfully there's another one on this side. However, going between them, he gets an opportunity to shoot his bullets, so we use a yellow moon lollipop so that none of them will do any damage to us. He can also do a laser, which is what he's going to try and do. Thankfully he's in one spot, so I should... Oh, well, you can actually stagger him out of doing that if you have very good aim. But I don't always have the best aim, that's it. We can still blow him up. Blow him up first. Arriving here, the camera pans to the left and we see the moon. One ability that Bayonetta got very early in the run, which was called Witch Walk, which allows her to walk on the walls. So now we are walking up this tower. Witch walking up this tower. There are these elevators that come down, but we can just avoid them by jumping in the middle. I use the claw that I had collected from the previous fight, and I use the yellow moon lollipop so that the vines don't do damage to her, so that she can just take out all of the health and make it to the top. And now she'll chop off the tongue as per tradition. And we keep going forward. The final set of skips in the speedrun are coming up. One of them is pretty small. Using the afterburner kick technique, you can make it on top of here without having to go on the platforms. And then a much larger one, this contraption that you see here, usually you would interact with to get the plates to form to get across to this other side. However, using our techniques such as panther form jumping and crow form, we can make it across without having to do that. Make it across to another golem fight. This golem, unlike the previous golems, has a centipede form, which I very much do not like. The worst form. Thankfully we got him. I wait a slight moment for the golem to regather instead of performing the climax, because the climax animation is too slow. And we can take him out that way. Also, a cute thing that you'll notice when Bayonetta is low health, you'll notice these hands on the screen. They're like hands that try and... yeah. bring you to hell with them. Sort of thing. Now we have Sapientia, and there's one special technique that we're going to be using for this part. I've been using this technique throughout the whole game, and it is called the dodge offset. What the dodge offset allows you to do in the game is to continue your combos after dodging. So for Sapientia there, each time running in panther form, because panther form is on the dodge button, you press the dodge button twice after each other. So I plant an explosive in the combination, and then dodging in panther form and coming out, I can actually continue that combo and plant another explosive. So yeah, the dodge offset is very good for combat and allows you to take advantage of enemies, and it's very good. So you could be in combat and you dodge an enemy, you do your combo, and then you dodge, and then you can continue your combo afterwards. and yeah, it makes combat a lot more fluid and yeah, good. Have a lot more control over the combat when using that technique. So yeah, I've been using that throughout the whole course of this run, but I like to specifically point it out there because you know you can really see it done with Sapientia there. Now the final two chapters are both dedicated to pretty RNG heavy bosses, and the first one's name is the Lumen Sage, whose also name is Boulder. All I'm gonna try and do is shoot little gunshots at him to try and aggravate him to do a 3-hit combo. He's not doing what I want him to do. I want him to do that so that he can hit me and activate Celine's Light. I get Witch Time, and then we can do the Kilgore exploit, shooting a lot of rockets from the feet. First time that we get rid of his health, Bayonetta summons Gamora, and you can see what happens with the Lumen Sage. He cracks Gamora's neck. Oh no. So Gamora couldn't do it. So we have to go again. Try and shoot little gunshots at him. So that he does the combination that I want. Because if we get hit by other moves that he does, Bayonetta gets staggered or flown around. And we can't attack him straight away afterwards. So that 3-hit combo is the one that we look out for and want. So this time she summons Scolopendra, which is the centipede. I'll get to see what happens. He mocks us a little bit by combing his hair with a feather. And now this is the final time. We do a lot of damage to his health. Bayonetta shoots a bullet at him, which is actually her lipstick. And we have to direct it towards him without hitting the glass. We have to direct it right into Boulder's forehead. Right into the forehead. And that's the end of the Lumen Sage. Or is it? Dun, dun, dun. Well, it's his boss fight. End of his fight. Yeah. Yeah, end of his fight. Now the next chapter is also another boss who is very mean if she wants to be. She has a bit of RNG to her as well. We can lose a lot of time. So we'll see how she behaves today. In Epilogue Requiem. At the start of this chapter, you play as Jeanne. You're not versing as her, but you're playing as her. I use the large yellow meat lollipop so that none of these stingray angels or the angels behind her will interrupt her movement on the motorbike, because we want her going as straight and as fast as possible on her motorbike. So you might be wondering, why are we playing as Jeanne? Where is she going? Well, there were a lot of events that happened after the Lumen Sage's fight, and now Jeanne is coming to save Bayonetta. And the theme that plays in the background of this part is called Friends. That's the title of the song. It's my favorite song in the game. It's really good. I like it a lot. So yeah, if you have anything you'd like to say, this is also a good opportunity while we make it to the boss. So we're just going to be cruising on through. Is there any donations that need to be read?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay.
But just a reminder, get those donations in for any bid wars or incentives that you'd like to see. I mean, you know, sometimes you want to make it more difficult on Brood. Who doesn't want to do that? Or maybe, you know, you'd like a t-shirt with Captain looking out, wondering what could have been over a lake or something like that.
Yeah, the merch looks really nice. The designs are really nice. So now we're just running towards the boss fight. Which is Jubileus the Creator. Jubileus is RNG because depending on which moves she decides to give you depends a lot on how fast or how slow this boss fight will be. She's gonna give me a punch, so that was very good. When she does a punch, I dodge the third punch that she does to get witch time, and then we hit her with the sword. We use the sword for the majority of this fight. Once she gets enough damage, she will go into these different elemental phases, and the first element that she summons is fire. The objective is to hit the spheres on each of her hair strands. So we just have to jump across to them and hit them. Like so. She cries out. There are some platforms, we just have to jump on them. We reach her face and hit her in the face. I know, we're gonna hit her in the face a bit more. Excellent. And the next element that she summons is gonna be ice. So similar to the fire phase, the hair strands are in the same positions. Except there's ice everywhere. There are also these icicles that come down from the ceiling, so you just have to watch out for them a little bit, otherwise Bayonetta turns into an ice cube. So we don't want that happening because it's slow. And we just hit her in the face a bit more. Now this is the third elemental phase, which is the one I don't like very much, which is like this storm, thunder, wind phase. She puts her hair strands on these platforms around her, and you have to get jump prompts to smaller platforms to make it across to her. So I have to make sure that I jump to the right platforms to get across to her. And we just hit her hair strands. She bundles up in the middle, and we just have to make it to her face again with the sword. One of the creators of the game said that Jubileus is meant to have the personality of like a spoiled teenage girl. Which you can only really see with the way that she screams. Yeah. So with this frisbee move, I purposely let them hit Bayonetta. She goes into her child form. And I purposely let them hit her straight away so that she does the punch attack straight away. Since she always does the punch after that attack. But we want it to happen straight away, so we do that. Now this move is just timeless. This is why I say you can lose a lot of time to her, because she can do this move. She summons a vortex from her punch, and you can't do damage to her hair strands when she does that move. All you can do is run away and wait for that move to be over. But overall, that was okay. Bayonetta summons her hair as a walkway. And now we're gonna run up it. Oh, she grabbed me. Well, it's been a while since I had that happen. Okay. Oh no. Make sure I dodge next time. Never happened before. Now we hit Jubileus in the face. And I'll let you enjoy this final climax. With the combination of Bayonetta's hair as well as Jean's hair, together they summon Queen Sheba. And Queen Sheba's gonna get her fist ready to punch God into the sun. With the Big Bang bonus. And she punches Jubileus' soul right out of her body. And we gotta punch her into the sun, but to make sure that we get her into the sun, we have to make sure that she doesn't hit any of the planets along the way. So we're just gonna direct her and make sure that she doesn't collide with them. We're gonna pass Earth in just a second. Everybody wave! Jubileus just passed over everyone's house. If you looked outside, maybe you could see her. And now we have successfully directed Jubileus into the sun. She is now on the KFC menu. She just got fried up. But to make sure that Jubileus is completely dead, we have to break up her body parts to make sure that she never comes back. And one thing that I look out for here is the lock-on points, which are these yellow lights on her body. Sometimes if I don't hit the body part right, the body part doesn't actually break out. So I just have to look out for that. Thanks. Cool. Now, in Bayonetta speedrunning, we do not stop the timer on the first set of credits because there are fights within this credits part that determine how long our speedrun will be. So, until we hit the end fight, I hope you will enjoy the groovy music. So the first fight in the credits is the first Jean fight, but this time we do a lot of damage and we can take her out. I love fast stepping when you first voice her. Yeah, the song that plays here is called Let's Dance Boys. Very, very funky. But yeah, this game is a lot of fun. I recommend it if you haven't tried this game to give it a try. Sometimes it goes on sale for like $5 on Steam, and it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of content that you don't see on the speedrun. That's a lot of fun weapons, and the cutscenes are really fun to watch. So, I recommend picking it up. Also, if you are by any chance interested in learning more about the Bayonetta speedrun or love Bayonetta the game, you're most welcome to join our community Discord, the Bayonetta speedrun Discord, which can be found attached to any of the Bayonetta leaderboards on speedrun.com, whether it's Bayonetta 1 or Bayonetta 2. You're most welcome to come join us. We love having new people and talking to us. You're most welcome to join.
surprise host, Gala. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Wolfie.
But we love having you here.
Thank you.
So, all the time, every single time.
Thank you. The final fight is coming up, so I'll just about to call time in just a minute. Just have to clear out these enemies as fast as possible. And time. Thank you everyone for watching my run. Thank you Speed Souls for having me on the marathon. I appreciate it that I got to show off this run. This run means a lot to me. I've been running this game basically since February at the start of this year. And I couldn't stop running because this run was just so much fun. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the marathon. Keep donating, it's a good cause. Keep supporting the marathon. I hope you will enjoy the next runs that come up too. Thank you.
Thank you, Gala.
Thank you.